Hot Boyz reunion, man. Hey, shout out to Juvie. Boom. Know what I'm saying? Weezy, bitch, you know I love you. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Well, you mad at me, bitch, but yeah, bitch, I love you, bitch, but you know what I'm talking about?
When BG hopped on this Instagram Live, fans were quick to criticize the former Cash Money rapper, who only got out of jail in September 2023. And this is primarily due to the fact that BG, who has a feud with Lil Wayne, is pleading with the rapper to help him with the Hot Boyz reunion. At the start of the year, BG took a shot at his former label mate on the song Gangsta Feel.
And my nigga Weezy steady torn, but he's a bitch and it's showing. I'm still a living.
But despite being a clear and petty dig at Wayne, the rapper claimed later on that he talked to every one of his friends this way.
Nigga gotta understand the relationships, you know what I'm saying, to really understand what the fuck be going on, man, you know what I'm saying? I tell a nigga I love him and call him a bitch all in the same sentence, man.
But what's the whole fuss with the Hot Boyz reunion? To properly answer that question, we have to find out why the rap group broke up in the first place.
Hey, don't lie, let's get up out of here.
What kind of boy that be pulling that drum?
Hot Boyz formed in 1997, and with the lineup of Lil Wayne, BG, Turk, producer Manny Fresh, Lil Jarek, and Juvenile, it didn't take a genius to see that this group would be successful. Signed to an independent Cash Money record label, their first studio LP, Get It How You Live, sold over 300,000, most of which could also be attributed to the growing success of BG in the South.
So you say you're ready to hustle, scuff over a dollar, rumble over a bundle.
Fortunately for the group, Get It How You Live wasn't just a success for the artists. It also helped Cash Money, which was independent at the time, to sign a $30 million deal with Universal Records. This in turn helped Juvenile, Lil Wayne, and BG to release solo albums, all of which were certified platinum. 2 years after the group's debut album, they released Guerrilla Warfare, their second major album.
This hot boy here.
Oh, what you need, boy?
I need a hot girl.
Oh, what you want, boy?
I want a hot girl.
This track, I Need a Hot Girl, wasn't just a banger in the streets of hip-hop. It also reached number 65 on a Billboard Hot 100. But just a few years after this successful second album as a group, tiny cracks began to plague both Bad Boys and Cash Money record label. It all began when Checkmate, another album from BG, failed to perform as well as his previous albums. At the same time, Lil Wayne's Lights Out also had an underwhelming performance in the hip-hop scene. While these two albums were undoubtedly brilliant, they were certified gold, a stark contrast to the platinum achievement of previous albums. But this wasn't all. The word on the street at the time also suggested that members like BG and Turk were dealing with serious drug problems. There were several reports that these artists missed their cues on stage and sometimes even forgot about video shoots. Remember Lil Derek? He was one of the group's founding members who left after their first album. Unfortunately, the rapper was shot dead in 2002. Later on, Juvenile also decided to leave the group to focus on his solo project, Project English. But it wasn't just because of his new album. Juvenile had also hired an attorney to look into his books at Cash Money Records, and only after a few days of investigating, his attorney realized that he wasn't getting the money he deserved. The most interesting angle to Juvenile's exit, however, involved his bandmate Lil Wayne, who released an album titled 500 Degrees. Juvenile thought this was a jab at him because he had an album called 400 Degrees. So he sent out a diss track in 2002, A Hoe, which appeared on the album 600 Degrees.
To the facts, how you pull a nerve to ever start dissing niggas when you was on BT straight kissing niggas?
By 2003, BG, Turk, and Juvenile had all left the group due to one financial issue or the other, leaving Lil Wayne as the only member of the group. In fact, Wayne was the only member still with Cash Money. However, the disbandment didn't mean one final album couldn't come, and this led to the release of Let 'Em Burn, an album which contained songs recorded in the late 90s. Interestingly, Juvenile wasn't the only one who felt like he wasn't getting paid enough. After BG left the group, he opened a can of worms that further exposed the claims of Juvenile against Birdman and Slim, the owners of the label. This feud caused a huge deal of controversy for both parties at the time, But BG somehow managed to grow past it, focusing his energy on his 6th studio album, Living Legend, and his own record label, Chopper City Records. Turk, on the other hand, was also doing pretty well for himself. After leaving Cash Money, he signed a deal with Laboratory Records, before releasing 2 more albums with Entertainment One Music. But in 2004, Turk's drug addiction problem and many run-ins with the law would catch up with him. On the 26th of January 2004, the authorities, which included a SWAT team, stormed Turk's apartment in Memphis with a search warrant. After knocking for several minutes without getting a response, they broke into the rapper's home and searched the apartment. But Turk, who had been hiding in the house all along, didn't want this to end without a fight. So he pulled out a 9mm handgun and began shooting at the cops. This shootout lasted for 15 minutes before the rapper was then arrested and charged to court. Talk about a real-life scene from Heat. He was eventually sentenced to 14 years in prison in 2006 after entering a plea deal with the state. But Wayne didn't want the Hot Boys to be broken up forever, despite one of his former members being in jail. In 2009, Weezy brought Juvenile and BG on stage in New Orleans, giving hope to a reunion that hip-hop heads really wanted. However, the situation would then take on a shocking twist, one that nobody saw coming. Turk would finally get released in 2012, setting the stage for a perfect Hot Boys reunion. But in the same year, BG would get sentenced to 14 years in prison for gun possession and witness tampering. This must have destroyed all hopes of a reunion, right? Well, not exactly. In December 2012, Turk made Zip It with Lil Wayne. And only a few weeks later, another former member of the group, Juvenile, hopped on the remix. And 2 months later, the impossible happened. BG sent his verse from jail, and the final reunion song was made. This was the perfect ending, right? Not yet. You would have to wait another minute for that. Shortly after getting out of jail, Turk took Cash Money to court on the grounds that they failed to pay him the royalties he deserved. Even though Turk won the case by default, it was later thrown out when the rapper announced that they had settled the matter amicably. Is this the final step towards a reunion tour? Well, maybe. BG is finally out of jail, and Juvie, who many regarded as the big brother of the group, had this to say.
No negativity from me. No negativity from me, man. With me, I'm always saying it's gonna happen.
I mean, I think I'm talking to the guy who can make it happen. The guy who can call him up like, yo.
We gotta let him simmer down a little bit.
BG, who dissed Weezy earlier this year, also wishes to bury the hatchet with whoever and get the Hot Boys on stage one final time. And of course, Weezy also wants this tour as much as his former bandmates.
I think we spoke about it a few times, but they have situations like BG just getting out, just coming home. So you got to figure out, he got to work it out. Can he tour?
Travel.
Right. Can he travel? Things like that. Juvie ready, and Turk ready, but it's really, we got to see if Jeezy could move around and all that.
But Birdman has a slightly different view about the reunion. Even though he has pledged the sum of $100 million, we aren't sure he expects to see Turk at the reunion tour. In an Instagram Live interview, he said, "We definitely going on tour. I'm putting up $100 million for it myself. But one thing for certain, 2 things for sure. I ain't guaranteeing that it's gonna be everybody. I'm standing on business, and that's what it is. If it work out, it work out. If it don't, it don't. But we definitely gonna get this money. That's for a fact." He then added, "I don't think it's gonna be everybody personally. Shit, I really don't give a fuck. As long as we getting it. The main player is gonna be there. First of all, I ain't got nothing against no Turk at all. He's still a hot boy, but I'm standing on business." Do you think this is already a sign that the reunion will never happen? Or is it absolutely nothing to worry about? Anyway, with all former members psyched for a reunion, let's keep our fingers crossed.